Welcome back to another Sunday night with Snicko and Johnboy. It's been a fun week, let me tell you that. What a week of SRL games. And SRL Bet 3 came 4 points short. I blame the Cows and the Tigers for not scoring 20 points in their game. But we'll cover that and much, much more to come. Firstly, Snicko, it's good to have you after a very comfortable win over the Knights.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jonathan Boy, as always. And you're right. Some pundits watched that Roosters Knights game and thought, you know what, the Knights were in with a good shot. But I think the more experienced watchers knew from the get-go that it was going to be a bit of a cakewalk for the Roosters. And Justin Dolan left it pretty late to score the match winner. But at the end of the day, 2 points is 2 points. Am I right?
You know, some would call it dire, potentially concerning to watch. But others may point out the fact that it doesn't actually matter how you get your 2 points as long as you bank them. Because now
I think, to be fair, Knights had their best game of the season from what I've seen. Their defence was actually insane. Well, unfortunately, their attack was
they've aimed up very
not
well.
very good.
I think the issue for Mai is that she's been left a squad of not of her own choosing, really, and not of her own upgrade planning either. She's made a fist of it. She's won one, lost one now. But after your win, I also think that we've had some friends of the podcast, the Tigers, have some pressure placed on them. They sit, I think, on 8th, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, at -7. Now, they are actually quite comfortably above the Chasers, other than the Sea Eagles. Now, the Sea Eagles, who they'll have to worry, but we'll cover that implications later. Let's get into our favourite segment. Let's get into some 6 agains.
10 metres.
Take it away.
Oh, with pleasure. And this is going to pain me to say, and you know I don't love them. But the Melbourne Storm are quietly starting to put together streak. I know they're not against the greatest teams of all time, but they're starting to put together a few wins, and they're reminding me of why they were favourites going into the season. Look, the win over the Rabbitohs was super ugly. I think they needed a Licky to a crossfield kick try in which he dove on a punt that I'm certain wasn't meant for him. But it's not, lucky teams are good teams, I suppose. And with
that's when skill meets opportunity, also I've been told. Yes. I think you're right. The Storm, they had a bit of a lull. I'm not sure if maybe they were easing into upgrade plans or whatever, but yeah, they're coming good at the right time of the season, that's for sure.
Before I finish my 6 again, this is like my praise of their return is basically going to have to be dependent on whether or not they get up over the wires next week. That will probably dictate what I make of them. But for you, Snicko, how are you starting a set?
So you're pretty much saying you have to be a decent team to beat the Wires. Is that where we're ending that one?
I don't want to talk about the Wires right now. I would say
that. I would say that. All right, but anyway, moving on. I think firstly I'm going to talk about the Titans, and we touched briefly on the Tigers falling to 8th spot, and that sort of ties in. Bear with me for a moment. But the Titans, they're currently sitting 12th or 13th potentially. They're on 10 points. It looks like potentially teams could sneak into the finals with 16. At the moment, 8th is on 14th with 3 games to go, so they're going to need some results to go that way. But I think that the Titans are a real dark horse. They've come good the back end of the season. They have 2 what you might call easier games. They versus the Warriors at the end of the season, which will be a big test for them. But if they win all 3, I would be very surprised not to see them sliding into that 8th spot. And it would have to be either the Roosters or the Tigers to drop out. It's not going to be us, so potentially the Tigers, if they drop a few games, could be them. But am I crazy to think that a fairy tale finish for the Titans is on the cards?
I don't think you're crazy. My only concern is that their defense is putrid. They've
conceded 4 points.
They've conceded 288 points this season. The next closest team is the Panthers on 284. So if they're going to make it, they're going to have to shore up their defense. They do play the Bunnies this week, so I mean they could go on a run. They'll have to beat the Tigers and the Wars. Oh, that's huge. They play the Tigers.
Yeah, they versus the Tigers, yeah. So they beat the Bunnies, then it'll be essential playing against the Tigers. If they win that one, they'll need to make sure they win the week after against the Warriors. It's going to be tough, but I
don't think it's crazy. I don't think that's crazy. I believe that
there's a team every year that goes on a little run at the end of the season and sneaks in. I think this year it could be the Titans.
Well, Taupoke is an adept captain, so I wouldn't put it past him. For my second 6 again, I want to talk about Microwave Michael. He had like 2 try assists and a match-winning try in the Titans win over the Seagulls. I think if you didn't catch the game, the Seagulls had scored a try to make it 32-30 with 7 minutes to go. The Titans were assaulting the line and they got repelled twice. And then just when we thought they're out of it, the Seagulls defuse a kick. And then they knock it on in the ensuing play the ball. Only for Microwave Michael to score in the corner with like 20 seconds left, I think, or 30 seconds left. He was immense. I'd say he may be a sneaky shout for an Origin squad. I'm certain he's Queensland eligible.
Bonkers.
Have you seen his stats? One good game does not make an Origin player.
He's been good all season. He's been good since he returned, though. I think
He's been passable. He's had one strong game.
Hookers tend to be passable. But I don't know. I see something. Also, my other thing is that I don't think Queensland has much in the way of options. Good options, that is.
Well, it's funny you say that because my second 16, and I want to talk about Rhys Davis. He is Queensland eligible. Yeah. Playing 5'8" or halfback or somewhere, depends where Beckman plays each week. I think Davis ends up at 5'8". In the team that's currently coming first, and if he doesn't get a Queensland spot, I would be dead set shocked. I think it's going to be Kearney in the 7, Davis in the 6. In the 9, don't really know. Don't think it's going to be Microwave Michael. But I think Rhys Davis has put together I think the Bulldogs, potentially by you, not by me, have been underestimated this season. When you watch them, they play really good. And Rhys Davis has kind of snuck under the radar because of the likes of Ponkston, Lobs, Beckman down the halves. The stars are shining, and it's putting a bit of shadow on the rest of their players. But yeah, Davis is putting together a very impressive season.
I've been just scanning the just through all the different spine players available. Queensland don't really have too much. I mean, I guess you've got the likes of maybe Bozzy Lewis, who could slide in. It'd be tough. He's not on paper probably not the candidate you'd want. But Queensland don't have a hell of a lot of depth at spine. But I suppose...
So you're telling me Rhys Davis is going to make it. You're agreeing with my take. I like it.
Yeah. As much as I'd like to. He's good for it. He's good for it, Rhys Davis. He's very active. It's a half take, half question, but something or nothing. The Cows are starting to come right towards the end of the year. They're 9th now. I felt like they were in the pits of their season on the depth of on the edge of despair. And now they've had 2 wins against dubious sides. Well, actually, no. They beat the Tigers 16-0. So the Tigers aren't bad. Is there something in their season, or do you think it's a flash in the pan the last 2 weeks?
They are seriously an erratic team. They've had some absolute blinders. They've had some absolute stinkers. They've had is that 2 wins in a row now?
It is 2 wins in a row now. Yeah, and they handily took out the Rabbitohs. So
yeah, I that logjam. So Cowboys, Eels, Manly, Titans. I think one of them is going to make the 8.
I don't think the Eels. I think the Eels falter at the last hurdle.
Like logically, I just think one of those 4 is going to go. One of them will win their last 3 games. I think.
Yeah.
And that should slide them into an 8th spot, which is I'm not sure who it's going to be because it's insane to think about when you consider the season that they've each had. But yeah, the Cowboys, when they're on, they are a very good team. Unfortunately, that's few and far between at the moment.
Yeah.
Or rather, it was few and far between because, as mentioned, they've come good. My last take, and this is less team-based and more league-based, but did everyone remember how to defend recently? Yes, you take out that Titans game, which was, 34-32. The rest of the round has been very, very tight. And watching games, line defenses have shored up. And even more on top of that, yardage defense. So games are starting to be played between the 20s. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the finals we end up going back to that sort of 12-6 game that we saw at the end of last season. So at the start of the year, we had 50s put on teams, but everyone sort of adjusted. They've upgraded well, and all of a sudden, our teams can defend again. So yeah, I guess my last take is that the finals they're not going to be won by an attacking team. They're going to be won by a defensive team.
Yeah, no, I back it. There's nothing I can really push back on. The Wars, the Raiders, all elite defensive teams. It's going to be hard to push past, the take that good defensive teams will win comps, especially with how inconsistent high-flying teams have been. But enough to look into the future, Snicko. I think it's time for that time of the week where we just reflect and we look back, turn around, do a
Those who fail
180.
to learn from history are condemned to repeat it.
Look at the Greek freak.
Yeah, very glad to look back. This one is a pretty well-known myth. King Midas, everything he touches turns to gold. If you want to undo the gold, you have to put the statue, whatever you've made, under running water. And for this week, Mr. Pepe Lopez, the Mexican international, I'm not sure if you've caught much of his season, but he is a man that I tell you what, when he's on, sorry, we got an interruption momentarily on set. When he's on, He's dynamite. He said in our sheds recently, he said, Pepe Lopez up to no good, but when he comes to play, the whole team's on. I think that's exactly right. The way that he played against the Knights, he just dominated that left edge. Offloads, line breaks, everything he touched turned to gold. You can sort of have those games where your team throws a billion offloads and none of them stick. For the Roosters this week, it was the opposite. Everything Pepe Lopez did, it was like he had a magic wand out there waving it around. So yeah, everything he touched turned to gold. And coincidentally, the last time he played in a rainy game, he had an absolute shocker. So potentially, water can undo him also. So for that reason, Pepe Lopez, affectionately now known as King Midas, welcome to the Greek Brotherhood.
Yeah, unsure what happened on set there. Must have tripped over a wire. But with that in mind, I guess we now move on to our weekly previews. We have a look at the week to come, and then Snicko will highlight his game of the week after I do my tips. And we've had some very good weeks, tipping weeks, the last few. Last week in
Did I hear a Nokia in the background?
Oh.
Who's going to be professional on set?
Nokia? Do they make those anymore?
Sorry, sidebar. Back to what we were doing.
But it's a very big week. There's nothing that really stands out as a huge matchup. Not like last week. The Dolphins and the Cows and the Dogs game. Sorry, was what stood out.
There was some blockbusters last week, wasn't there?
We've got a few quieter games, but we'll start with Monday. And the Cowboys take on the Wires. And this will prove if they really are a team that's going to be on the turnaround. The Warriors, well, they manhandled my Sharks last week, 16-0. Trust me, it wasn't that close. As all good
teams do.
It wasn't that close. They probably deserve to score 30 on us, to be honest. But the Cowboys have gotten into the business of defending again. So I will reserve all judgment going into next week's clash. And the Raiders take on the Knights. Oh, I was going Wires 19+. The Raiders take on the Knights. And the Knights are improved. I think Mai is starting to turn the ship around. Unfortunately for her, she just has no time to do it in. They'll have about 3 weeks, or they'll have 5 weeks of upgrades under her. But really not enough time to make a proper imprint on your team.
I might, if you don't mind, seeing as you're compromised bias-wise, take over momentarily.
Oh, go on then.
Raiders 19+, move on.
Yeah, let's see a bit better. Seagulls against Dogs. I'm going to go Seagulls 1-8. The Seagulls need a response.
No.
The Seagulls need a response.
To get on board. The Dogs are a good team.
Now, I want the Dogs to know this. I'm not hating on you for this, okay? I genuinely don't think you're a bad team-ish. But the Seagulls need a response. Their finals hopes are not hanging by the balance, but it's getting close. And they need to string together some wins. I just think the desperation on Monday night footy will see them through. Otherwise, the Doggies, they'll run away with a minor premiership, but more importantly, the Seagulls are going to fall very, very far behind their competitors, especially given the games to come. Now, on Tuesday, the Tigers take on the Storm. Storm 9-18. The Tigers are in free fall, and I'm just unsure about the cohesiveness inside the dressing room at the moment. Remains to be seen. They have a very handy knack at proving me wrong, the Tigers. So we'll have to see how that goes. But the Bunnies take on the Titans in the last Tuesday night game. Titans 9-18. I'm sorry, Finn. I really am. But I think that after the close loss to the Storm, spirits may be down. I think the Titans will take advantage to secure another 2 points and get that much closer to finals footy. Now on Wednesday first slot, the Dolphins take on the Panthers at Suncorp. Oh, geez. Yeah, I think that might get ugly for the Riff. I'm actually going to go Dolphins 19+. Justin plays as a try-scoring freak. It's ridiculous. I think him, Houndus, and a few others are going to absolutely run rampant against a Penrith team that's just been all over the place, to be honest. And lastly, Snicko, the game you'll be looking forward to as well, all week in fact. The Eels take on the Roosters in the battle of teams vying for those top 8 spots. And that'll be really, really good. No, Roosters 1-8. I think they'll just have a little bit too much quality for Amex, man. But if they do get up there,
if you don't mind, I'll jump in once again. Firstly, to our scheduler, how is this the last game on a Wednesday? This is a top 8 defining match. But anyway, we'll leave that one be. Secondly, the Eels, they have a knack of beating teams that I captain. And I know I'm just the vice captain now, but I'm not sure how or why. But the Eels, when I was at the Warriors, they did us a couple of times when I was at the Dolphins again. And I think last season, Luke Short ran the proverbial train up and down the tracks against us. So I'm nervous going into this game. Having said that, 19 plus Roosters.
Yeah,
We haven't scored 19 points in about 8 weeks, but I'm feeling a 19
well,
plus.
if you say it enough, it'll come. That's what I was doing for the last couple of weeks. And obviously, us against the bye, it'll be a tough contest, but we'll get up, I think, narrowly.
Yeah, we've only lost one game in the last 5 weeks, so we're trending upwards, which is good.
Are you gonna?
And yeah,
What is your game
a
of the
bit
week?
vainly, I'd have to say my game of the week will be Roosters versus
Yeah.
Eels.
That's
Eels,
not-
if they win, they'll jump into the 8, I believe. Pending for and against. Maybe they have to beat us by a bit, I'm not sure, but it's all on the line, really. We could essentially end their season. They need to win to stay in it because it's essentially a 4-point swing for them if they lose.
Yeah, well, it is do or die for a lot of teams, to be honest. You'd think if the Titans lose as well, that's pretty much their season, isn't it?
Yes, but they're up, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
They're on the
true.
fly.
True. Well, look, there's going to be a lot of stories written, a lot of narratives you can expect. A very exciting round 13 to come and go. In the meantime, though, we will catch you in about a week's time. Enjoy the week's games, and we'll see you for more yapping next Sunday. In the meantime, take care, brush your hair, and we'll see you next one. Mwah!